My friends, it is time to stop treating measurement as the wicked stepchild. Yes, I know it's challenging. Yes, I know it requires math. Yes, I know most of you went into marketing or communications because you're bad at math. Yes, I know it makes your head hurt. But here's the truth. Measurement isn't just a necessary evil. It's the thread that holds your entire program together, whether you're using the PESO model or not. And it's not really about math. It's about looking at the numbers and building a narrative around them. The kind of story that proves what's working, what's not, and what deserves more investment. The kind of story your executive team or your clients actually care about. We all know the traditional metrics: impressions, clicks, advertising equivalency, follower counts, video views don't cut it anymore. They don't answer the question every CEO eventually asks, which is, what did this do for the business? And yet we still rely on those metrics because math. The PESO model helps you build an integrated communications program. Measurement helps you prove it's working. On this week's FinSucks podcast episode, we'll explore how to track what matters, show how different types reinforce one another, and use data to drive better decisions, not just prettier dashboards. Let's make measurement less scary so it becomes the smartest thing you do, not the thing you avoid. Welcome back to the FinSucks podcast. I'm Gini Dietrich. The way we've measured marketing and communications for years is, well, lazy. We've clung to whatever was easiest to count: impressions, advertising equivalencies, story placements, followers, likes. And sure, those things became the things the execs asked to review because it was the only thing we had. Those things filled a slide deck. But when push came to shove, we got questioned about whether or not they actually showed results. They make it harder to explain why what we did mattered. I have very fond memories of my colleagues standing in my office door saying, "Can you create the dashboard for my campaign for me?" Or remind me what the impression multiplier is for trade magazines. I was all too happy to help. I loved being the metrics maven. And at the same time, I knew there had to be a better way. And I was right. It took many years, but the world has eventually moved on. AI search engines are changing how people find information. Stakeholders expect marketing to perform like sales with attribution, ROI, and metrics. Meanwhile, leaders are asking tougher questions. How is this helping us grow? What would happen if we stopped doing it? If your answer is, well, we got 2 million impressions last quarter, you're going to lose the argument and they're going to stop doing it. It's time to shift from measuring activity to measuring outcomes. That means you're going to focus on things like, how much pipeline did we influence? How much revenue did we influence? What is our lead quality and conversion? What is our search visibility? What is our domain authority? What is our brand sentiment? Are we trusted? What is the speed to decision? Measurement today is not just proving you're busy. It's about showing your work is moving the business forward. It's not just counting what happened. It's explaining why it matters and then what comes next. And the best part, once you learn to measure the right things, you'll actually have more confidence, more clarity, and so much more fun telling the story. Modern measurement starts in a very different place than it used to. Far too often we work backwards. We launch campaigns, gather metrics, and then try to reverse engineer a story about results. I'm sure you've all done it. I used to judge the PRSA Silver Anvil Awards every year, and you could always tell when people created their results report that way. In my book, automatic exclusion. I would debate that with some of my peers, but those awards I would automatically exclude just because that's not the way you should be measuring your work. If you don't set objectives ahead of time and work to achieve them, that's cheating. And trust me, if someone reviewing your awards entry can tell, your execs or your clients can too. There is a better way. Start by asking, what does the business need to achieve and how can our work help? Is it revenue growth? Is it market share? Is it faster customer decisions? Is it faster going through the journey? Is it increased trust in a crowded category? Is it stock price increase? Your measurement plan should be built to reflect that from day one, not day 30, not day 90, not day 12 months, day one. That means your metrics shift from what did we do to what did we move? Instead of counting how many people visited your website, you should track how many of them were qualified. How deeply did they engage? Did they convert? Did they come back? Are they further along in the customer journey? Instead of noting that your media coverage, for instance, got picked up, you demonstrate whether or not it drove traffic, included your message, included valuable backlinks, and showed up in AI-generated search results. And that last point, the AI-generated search results, it's a big one. AI-driven search engines like Google's Search Generative Experience, or SGE, aren't just indexing keywords anymore. They're prioritizing content based on experience, expertise, authority, and trust, which is now the famous EEAT. That means your content, your spokespeople, your coverage, even your social interactions need to consistently reinforce that you know what you're talking about and that others trust you to lead that conversation. Guess what? This is great news for communicators. We've always known how to build credibility. We've always known how to build reputation. We're great at building trust. Now it's not just important, it's required if you want your work to surface, spread, and stick. That was such a nice alliteration. Surface, spread, and stick. Surface, spread, and stick. So nice. But that's still just the tip of the iceberg in a PESO model program. As we discussed last week with integration, you have to look at how things connect. For instance, are people seeing your earned media more likely to engage with your owned content? Does paid media amplify and drive more conversions when it supports high-performing social posts? Modern measurement isn't just about connecting the dots. It's part detective work, part storytelling, and yes, I'm sorry, it is part math. But the goal isn't just numbers, it's clarity. In just a few minutes, I'll talk you through how to connect the dots between media types and why integration is the secret to turning good results into great ones. I'll be right back. Welcome back. We just discussed how to shift from activity-based metrics to outcome-focused measurement. Now let's delve into how different media types reinforce each other and how to measure that magic. Not all metrics are created equal. So I'm going to break down what you could measure in each PESO model category and what those numbers should actually tell you. So owned media is where the story begins. It's the foundation of your PESO model strategy, and it's the starting point for your measurement framework. The key is to move beyond surface metrics like page views and focus on engagement quality. So time spent on the page, how far down they went, how many pages they looked at while they were there, or time listened or watched. You want them highly engaged, and that's what you want to be focused on. Then you want to look at conversion performance. So are they downloading content? Are they submitting forms? Are they using the tools that are on your website? And then you want to look at the indications that you have authority. So that means your domain authority will grow. You have inbound links coming to the site, and you show up in search rankings. So here's what it looks like in action. A health brand created a content hub around a new treatment category. Visitors spent an average of 4.2 minutes per session. 32% explored multiple resources, and the hub itself generated more than 150 downloads of a physician discussion guide in 1 quarter. That's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of the story because it's only one piece. It's only owned media. But those are the kinds of signals that show content is driving real consideration and authority. Then you have earned media, which is your credibility engine. So it shines when you stop counting clips and impressions and AVEs and start measuring influence. So you'll focus on message inclusion. Did your talking points land? Were your experts quoted? Is there traffic coming to the website? Who clicked through? How long did they stay? Did they convert? Did they download something? Then you want to look at backlinks. Do your media placements have a link to your content or to your website? Ideally to content, not to the homepage, but I'll take the homepage. Are they helping you rank in both traditional and AI search? And then has your domain authority increased due to your media coverage? One business to consumer brand secured a contributed article in a top tier outlet. That article included the brand's 3 core messages. It quoted its subject matter expert, and it linked to its content hub with optimized anchor text. The result? More than 500 high-intent visitors were referred from that article. Key resources were downloaded at a 28% rate, and dozens of direct consultation requests were made. So that's earned media doing business level work. And now we're going to start to combine that with our owned media. Then you have shared media, which is the trust builder. And shared media metrics get a bad rap because we've relied far too long on things like likes and shares. The smarter approach is to focus on quality over quantity. And you already know that. You know that. Key metrics include meaningful comments, direct messages, shares with context. Are people sharing your content? Are they saving it to refer back to occasionally? Are people responding with trust? Are they sharing organically? And is your social content driving traffic that actually takes action? So an example of that is a B2B company saw really strong results by focusing its LinkedIn strategy around educational content that was tied to a new product category. Those posts averaged 3 times more meaningful comments, drove 280 visits to their gated content hub, and led to more than 40 uses of their Find a Provider tool. That's not vanity. Those are not vanity metrics. That's visibility, shared media visibility with value. And then we start to add that on to the story that we've already told with earned and owned, right? And then you have paid media, which is the strategic amplifier. So paid media does not work in a silo. It's most powerful when it amplifies what's already resonating across owned, earned, and shared. These are the metrics that matter. Do you have a cost per qualified lead? Not just cost per click, but what's the cost to bring in the right people? Then you want to look at conversion rate by campaign. Which audiences or messages are converting best? How are your dollars actually performing? As an example of that, a brand used lookalike modeling to target audiences similar to their highest value customers. Paid traffic converted at a 24% higher rate, delivered a $42 cost per qualified lead, and was 30% below target. That's what paid media should do. Amplify what's working, not just spend budget. And then you have integration and the multiplier effect. And this is where the PESO model moves into a strategic superpower. When your media types work together, you don't just get incremental gains, you get exponential results. That's what I always refer to as the multiplier effect. If you're not integrating your media types, you're leaving so much value on the table. And if you're not measuring it, you're full on leaving cold hard cash on the table. I talked about this in detail last week, but let me give you one more example. Let's say you publish a resource on your website, owned media. Then you pitch a story to the media, earned media, that links back to that resource. You share the media placement and the resource across social, which is shared, and you boost the best performing posts on social, your contributed content, and your resource through a paid campaign. And guess what happens when you do that? Everything performs better. Media coverage gets more clicks, social engagement increases, the resource on your website sees a spike in qualified downloads, your domain authority improves from backlinks, and leads from the campaign convert faster. That's the multiplier effect in action. So, how do you measure it? You're going to look for patterns like this. Did a user discover you via earned media, visit your site, and convert after seeing a boosted post? Or are people interacting with multiple media types, spending more time, taking more actions, and converting more often? Or are key messages showing up consistently across the media types and driving higher retention or recall? Or is integrated content driving faster improvements in search rankings and the EEAT signals? You're not just connecting the dots between media types, you're proving that integrated communications doesn't just support the business, it accelerates it. This is the part that most of us miss, and it's also the part that will earn you credibility, budget, and a seat at the table. Okay, now that you understand the importance of integration and measuring those efforts, let's talk about the difference between a report that gets read and one that gets results. It's not about how many charts or how much data you have. It's about whether or not your data answers the question, what should we do next? This is where most of us get stuck because, again, math. We may pull reports or build spreadsheets, plug in the numbers, and hope the executive team looks at them and understands them. But real reporting isn't just about showing what happened. It's about making the case for what comes next, clearly, confidently, and in a way that resonates with your audience. And as you're using data to tell stories about your work, remember that different stakeholders need different things. So for the C-suite, you're going to keep it high level and strategic. You're going to focus on how much revenue your work has influenced, what the cost efficiencies are, whether or not you had market share or brand lift, what the stock price is, and if you're positioned against competitors in a really positive way. No jargon, no channel specific KPIs, just clear answers to, did this help us win this quarter in the last 6 months this year? Then you're going to take it down a level for department leaders. This group wants performance and optimization. So you're going to give them program level insights, channel comparisons. So you will compare paid, earned, shared, and owned, resource allocation guidance, and strategic recommendations backed by data. You're going to start to predict the future because you have the data to help you do that, and you can make those strategic recommendations. This is where you can start to show which levers to pull and why. And then for the team that's executing, you're going to get tactical. So you'll help them improve performance in real time. You'll show content performance by topic or message, social platform breakdowns, paid campaign benchmarks, and conversion patterns and testing insights. The goal is to drive smarter daily decisions, not defend the program. And across all levels, you want to wrap your data in a narrative. So you'll use comparisons, baselines, and business language. You want to make it easier for your audience to connect the dots between what you did and why it matters. Your metrics don't just tell a story, they drive the next chapter. The best measurement programs are not static, they evolve. You're going to continue to do this daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. They don't just report results, they drive decisions. They don't try to be perfect, they aim to get smarter every quarter. That's what continuous improvement looks like in a modern PESO model program. You're not just building a perfect dashboard that stays frozen in time. You're building a feedback loop that helps you learn what's working, shift what's not, and optimize as you go. So here's how to do that. Number one, set benchmarks before you launch. You need a clear starting point if you want to show progress. Then establish your measurement rhythms. Monthly, you're going to look at channel insights. Quarterly, you're going to do strategy checks. Annually, you'll look at big revenue and pipeline reviews. So you'll say, this is how much pipeline we influence. This is how much revenue we influence. This is how fast we made the customer journey improve. This is how much we made the sales conversion improve. Then you'll document response protocols. So what happens if something spikes? What happens if something tanks? What happens if something flatlines? Who acts and what do you do? And then please, 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 I'm saying this as much for myself as anyone, prioritize progress over perfection. You won't track every data point out of the gate, and that's okay. Start with what matters and grow from there. You want to think of it like a muscle. Measurement gets stronger by lifting heavy shit. Oh, wait, that's probably just human beings. Human beings lift heavy shit, they get stronger. Measurement gets stronger with consistent reps. And like any good strategy, your PESO model program should evolve with the data. When you measure your work this way, it won't just prove your value, it will make your work better, more focused, more aligned with business goals, and more deserving of the resources you need to grow. If you want to learn more about measurement in the PESO model program, join us in the SpinSucks community. It's a great place to get advice, brainstorm ideas, and build real relationships with your peers. You can find us at spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. That's spinsucks.com/spin-sucks-community. Oh, I got myself all combobbled there. I hope to see you there. And if not, I'll see you right here next week. Also, the PESO model is a registered trademark of SpinSucks.